our way over to Uncle Nick's to make some dinner. We started off this week with a wonderful dinner at my Uncle Nicolao's place. We decided to walk there that day, and it was a good workout. I am such a big fan of the traditional blue and white decor. Everyone had a hand in cooking up a dish for tonight's dinner, and it was super yummy. We definitely didn't starve on this trip. And Tio Nicolao is always the consummate host. A few days later, we did a whole afternoon of visiting tea factories, and the first stop was Chá Porto Formoso, which is in the town of Porto Formoso. And of course, the views here never disappoint. This is a view of their fields, or one of their fields, right by the ocean. And I always love looking at the antique tile work that is on some of these old buildings. It's just incredible, so beautiful. And you'll see them in the traditional blue and white, like this alcove here, just divine. Joanna, wave.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Joe.
We're at the tea plantation.
Yes, this is in Porto Formoso, one of the tea plantations here. And it is just divine. Look at that view. You can see the ocean. And then here we are making our way down into the museum part of the factory. And again, along a beautiful path. And at the foot of the path, there was a guide to welcome us there. And there was currently a video being shown of the history of the factory and the plantation, which was lovely to be able to see.
The story of the factory.
Yes.
The film started right now in English. It's 5 minutes. Maybe and
I could spend days on end in old buildings like this and looking up the historical facts about them and all of the original items they would have used in those days and how they would have lived life. And this building is an original structure. And of course, it's been updated with modern facilities, but you can see here some of the original ways they would make their tea and an original wood burning oven. And of course, it's not a visit to a tea house without checking out some of the teapots and tea paraphernalia from generations past. And when you visit Shah Port Formos, they do give you a free cup of tea to enjoy. And it was a bit of a rainy, drizzly day, so this was a perfect end to our visit at Shah Port Formos. And of course, my uncle Nicolau was always the just most gracious host, taking us to all these places around the island. And so we did a little exploring on the outside as well, where there's this gorgeous deck, which I'm sure they would offer lunch, and I believe they rent out for private events. And I came across this interesting contraption, which is an antique scale. And this is how they would weigh a lot of the tea that they would cultivate. So you can see that the markings are still on there. I'm not sure if it's still functioning. It doesn't look like it. I did try stepping on it, but I just think it makes a great add-on to kind of bring the point home of the way they used to do things back in the day. And again, a beautiful view of the tea plantation. And if you're ever on Sao Miguel Island, you really need to visit this tea factory as part of your exploration of the island. And if not for the tea, then definitely for the continued fabulous views of the landscape and the ocean. Our next stop was Shah-Guriana, and this was not far from Port Formos, which is located in a town called Maya. And this factory was founded in 1883. So again, right up my alley. I love super old buildings and historical architecture. And we had a really good time exploring the factory here. We actually got a chance to see some of the machinery they used. And we were able to see the process of how the leaves are dried and extracted from their plant, and how this affects the flavoring of the tea and the different types of tea that you can get. It was just such a great afternoon.
Look at that.
It really gives you a different perspective on where your tea comes from. I mean, so many of us are just so used to just enjoying a nice cup of tea without really thinking about the process from beginning to end in your teacup. So a lot of these machines are, some of them at least I know, are original in the way they processed tea. And I think they have mixed in a few modern accommodations to help expedite the process. But this was super interesting and very fun to be able to walk through. And that's the other beautiful thing here. You were just able to walk freely through the factory. And then, of course, you also walk through where they sort the tea by hand, the dried tea, I believe it looks like. So you can see here some of the dried leaves. It's just fantastic.
Oh, so they're separating the stems from the leaves.
Oh my God.
By hand.
Smell. Good. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
More beautiful views of the tea plantation. I just can't get enough of how lush and green the island is. It is known as the Green Island. And here is Joanna enjoying her capped off afternoon in front of the Shah Goriana sign. Our next stop was at Parque da Ribeira dos Caldeirões, and this is basically a natural park. It's in a protected area, and it basically has a lot of beautiful waterfalls and extremely gorgeous natural beauty. Like I said, it is protected, and it is in the town of Achada, which is in the Nordeste region of the island, and that means the northeast portion of the island. And you'll find beautiful water streams along the Ribeira do Guilherme, and a beautiful botanical garden. And you can spend we didn't have enough time here because actually I did have to get back to the house because I was teaching online that afternoon, but this on its own would be a full day because they also have hiking trails and museums, and they do also house antique water mills that you can discover. So this was a big part of life on the island in the mid-19th century and probably before. The island really didn't evolve to what I consider modern day until I would even say the late 1980s. When I was a kid and visiting the island, they were just starting to kind of really pick up the speed of their modernization. Again, that's my perspective of me growing up and visiting there often. Definitely they were slow to modernize their way of life, but I'm so thrilled and excited to see that they've preserved a lot of it, because I think that's part of what creates this rich culture and sense of heritage and community here. Just gorgeous. Oh yes, this is how they used to grind the wheat.
As coisas não eram para o preço, eram por medidas. E só medidas vendiam as coisas.
Wow.
Esta era o alqueire, a quarta, meia alqueire e vinha aqui.
So things weren't measured by weight; they were measured by
Não era o peso, eram por medidas.
like container. Yeah, I guess is the great. Yeah,
Feijão,
quantity.
milho, farinha, essas coisas.
And this next stop is absolutely, categorically my favorite place to visit on the island. I mean, actually, there's many favorites, but I always just, my heart swells when I visit this place. It's called Ponta da Madrugada, and it's basically the best point on the island to watch the sun rise, and that is what madrugada means. It means dawn. And the views here are so breathtaking and so meditative and calming. It was so breathtaking that my friend Joanna actually was emotional. She just couldn't believe how much natural beauty was here and her sense of calm and serenity. It really, again, the island of Sao Miguel should be on your bucket list, and this will definitely, I would recommend, highly recommend that this needs to be one of the stops on your discovery around the island. We were even fortunate enough to see a rainbow that day and bumping into some fellow Canadians who were also visiting the island. All in all, a really beautiful day. The following day, the girls and I took a trip to the big city of Ponta Delgada. We are standing in front of the Portas da Cidade, which means doors to the city. And it's the most iconic place on the island. So if any of you have ever visited Sao Miguel, you will most likely have seen this structure as well as come across it on postcards. And we had a lovely day just exploring a lot of the architecture and the general city vibe. And what was really cool is to see the local workers fixing up some of the old cobblestone streets. So they are replacing them one by one as they were. And Philomena decided these guys needed a little bit of her help. And we are having a rooftop dinner tonight. As you can see, the island on that side. It's a little bit cloudy there. And our little terrace. And the girls are enjoying a lovely pasta dish prepared by Miss Phil. Thank you so much. And a bit of salad. There we go. There we are. And that's it. And we have a great view of the ocean down at the end of the road. Bon appetit. And on the second last day of our trip, my uncle took us to his hometown where he was born and raised, along with my father and his other siblings. And that was Lomba de Maya. And this is where I have the most of my childhood memories of coming to visit here. It isn't a visit without stopping in at my grandmother's home, which my uncle still owns. And we were lucky enough to be invited to a home-cooked meal by the two lovely ladies that are currently living there. And on our final day on the island, we just roamed around the property and took in the beauty of my uncle's gardens, the vegetable gardens, the animals, the sweet dogs that roam the place like it's theirs, and just overall taking in one last day of enjoying this gorgeous natural beauty that is Sao Miguel.